Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go live. Let's go live. Let's go live. Hey, everybody. We're going live. I turned my computer off, telling my computer to restart, and it just took a long time to shut down. I was like, what are you doing? I finally had to like hard press to shut it down because it was just spinning. I was like, well, we're trying to shut down. What are you doing? My computer was like, I'm just deciding. I'm just deciding what I'm going to do. And it's like, no, we're not deciding. We're done deciding. We're ready to go. We're ready to go right now. So I had to hard shut it down and start over. So that's what I was doing. That's what was taking so long. So y'all all right this evening? Hopefully you had a good week in the market and a good weekend to kind of rest your nerves. I always talk about how you should take at least a day on the weekends to give your nervous systems a break. You do need to take some time on the weekend to prep and get yourselves ready for the upcoming week. Absolutely. But you also need to take time on the weekend to just give your system a woosah, to just give your systems a break where your system just says, I'm cool, I'm not doing a thing, I'm just chilling right now. You need to let your systems just have a break because we do know that trading can be hard on the systems. Okay. So you definitely got to give it a break. Maybe take some time that you go out with some friends or family, sit around and just do nothing, watch some TV or veg out if that's what you do, whatever it is that you do to burn off steam. I have realized that I have to take some time to I had to intentionally make sure that exercise and those things are back into my routine because I need that extra outlet because trading is a very sitting, a very stationary and sedentary process. So I have to put exercise and movement into the day on purpose. Otherwise, you'll just sit here. You'll just sit in front of the computer and look at the screens and all that good stuff. So, hey, Will. Hey, Pastor. How you doing? Michael, how you doing this afternoon? Shelva, that's a fresh name. How you doing? Jermaine Gardner, hey, how you doing? I think I saw some other names up here. I think I saw Ward up here. Good morning, good afternoon, Ward. How you doing? Y'all was here waiting on me, and I was the one who was trying to get my computer to do right. My computer did not want to be a do right man. It was not doing right. So here we are, though. Here we are. We won't talk bad about the computer because then it won't help us out. It's time to, he knows his days is limited and we don't want to have him not acting right on his limited time. All right. So now I need to keep moving. Hey DJ, I got to keep moving now because I'm running late. I'm running behind schedule. I'm behind schedule. Okay. Y'all know I do at 6 o'clock. I spend time with my own community and we spend time charting and training every Sunday evening. We talk about the different things we need to be cleared up on. So I want to make sure that I honor their time about 6 o'clock to do that. So that means I have to move through this process in a timely manner. And they're very they give me all kind of leeway, but I tend to get there about 6. We usually tend to finish this about 6. Okay, so let's talk about what happened last week and what is going to come up this week. All right, let's look at what SPX did last week in the market. This is the weekly chart. This is the weekly time frame. I'm actually going to take myself off the screen so like I'm hiding behind the words, and there's no need for that. There's a lot of lines, I know that, but I use these lines, so we won't be commenting about the lines on my chart. All right, we won't. I used to take them all off, and this used to really bother me, but now it doesn't bother me as much. Now I've gotten used to the lines because once I put it on the daily and the 15-minute and I stretch it all out, these lines go away. So I don't be stressing over it no more. But last week was a green week for SPX. It opened at 63.89 and it closed at 64.49. So about 60 points was the open and close. It did have a range though. The low of last week was 63.64 and the high was 64.81. So about 120 points from high to low. last week. But if you're looking at this pattern, it's still definitely going in a bullish pattern. It did pull back some and left a gap down here. There's a gap between 62.38 and 62.72. We're not anywhere near there at this point, but there is a gap down here. At this point, we're still going with some bullishness for all intents and purposes. Everything is still on the bullish trend. I was looking for my EMAs. This is the 9-period moving average, which is a pretty good little ways away from the current price, but it's still doing what it do. All right, let's switch to the daily chart just to see what the days looked like on SPX. I will stretch it out some so we can see what the days look like. Monday was a red day, had a little bit of a gap. Actually, this is a gap here. Let me put it on the chart so that way I will make sure we have it from a daily standpoint. This is a gap. A gap is from the close of one candle to the open of the next. That's a gap. So this candle on Monday closed down here at 63.73, and the next day it opened at 63.95 and pulled back a little bit to 63.85, but never got back down to 63.73, which is where it closed on Monday. So that left a gap behind. All right, so there's a gap from 63.73 to 63.85. You can mark that on your charts. There is a gap there. So it jumped up on Tuesday and ran all day long, all day. Okay, ran all day. Then on Wednesday, we had a gap up again. It did pull back to fill the gap that it left behind and then ran and then, went on up. On Thursday, we had a little bit of a gap up Thursday we gapped down, but then, dropped some more and then closed the gap. So Thursday closed its gap. Friday, we gapped up. It gapped up and then closed that whole gap from the day. And we had basically a red day all day on Friday, right? This is a failed 2 up on Friday. Okay, so that's what the days look like from last week on SPX. Let's see what SPY ended up closing at on Friday. The chart should look similar. The chart will look similar. Monday was a red day. It left a little bit of a gap behind as well. Let's go ahead and put it on our chart. I don't chart SPY a whole lot because it looks so much like SPX. The price action is similar. But there's a gap there. Tuesday, green day. Wednesday, we got a nice little sword going. Thursday was a green day. Friday was a red day, as we mentioned. All right, that's SPY. It closed on Friday at 643.48 or somewhere in that general vicinity. All right, triple Q. We're still, even though it's pulling back and all those good things, even though the SPX or SPY, S&P 500 is doing the pullback and dance around, it's still showing bullish energy, even though we were dancing around. Looks like triple Q, which is what this one is. We've got a line up here. We've got a resistance zone on triple Q. Let me change this back to red because blue will mean something different. Okay, 582.76. It looks like it was a resistance area, and then we've got a whole nice little setup here of pullback. Monday did the same thing, was red, but this gap on Tuesday, the gap on triple Q got closed. It gapped up and then pulled back on Wednesday, and then it closed here. They closed the gap there, gapped, went straight across basically, and then went down all day on Friday, just like SPY and SPX did. Closed on Friday at 577.34. 577.34. I'm actually going to move this line. Oh, I did not mean for you to do that. I just wanted you to move what was here. Here we go. All righty, so that's triple Q. Let's go look at IWM. See what IWM did for the week. IWM usually comes a little late to the party. Looks a little bit different because it's small cap, so it's made up of different things. And then SPY and triple Q and SPX is made up of different things, so it's going to look different. That's the reason there's that. Okay, there was a gap between Tuesday and Wednesday, but that gap got filled on Thursday and Friday, so we can delete it because it is no longer there. But there is still a gap down here in the 220 area, 220 between 220 and 221, somewhere in there. There's still a gap down there. Also have a resistance zone up here at the top at 231 and some change up in that area. Got you a nice little setup there. People call it structure. There's all kind of phrases. There's a sell zone, a resistance area. You can call it a lot of different things. Basically, the price went up there and turned around. Call it what you will. All right. There's a resistance zone. There's a place that the price went up to and then it reversed. 231.22 is where that area happened, and it closed IWM closed on 227, closed at 227.17 or around there on Friday. All righty. That's what happened over there. Okay. Hey, Janae. Hey, Tanya. How y'all doing? Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Last week was OPEX week. We had the usual OPEX things that happened last week. That's what it does. You know what? We keep saying we're going to put in our trading plans that we're not going to trade on OPEX days. And somehow OPEX gets here and we still trade. Janae, you got to make sure. Oh, there's a gap up here. We got to make sure, Janae and Tanya, y'all are real good for reminding me about that kind of thing. We got to make sure that we put into our trading plans that we don't trade on OPEX days. Because first of all, Fridays are bananas anyway. And then when we add OPEX into that mix, it just becomes crazier. All right. We did make some money on Friday, but even though we did, it did not come without sweat. You know, I won't say blood, sweat, and tears. It just came with sweat. Okay. So we keep saying we're not going to trade on OPEX Fridays, and we're gonna have to really, really adopt that. Okay, because anyway, there was a gap up here at the top of IWM that I did not identify, but we need to from 231.25 all the way down to 228.76. After Wednesday's pullback, after it gapped down on Thursday, it left a whole lot of meat up here on the bone. Maybe it'll run back into full time frame continuity, because time frame continuity, it's still bullish. IWM is still bullish as well. Even Adam mentioned that. We need to be mentioning. We did trade lightly. I think when I put in our alerts for Friday morning, those trade that I first alerted to the community was go light. I did say that. I'm not sure if people heeded my suggestion, but I did say go light. Go light, young man. Go light. Okay, so the VIX, this is probably Friday's information, and it is the 15th. So there's no VIX concerns at this point. The markets, the futures has not opened yet. They will open in about an hour or so. Powell's Jackson Hole speech, Walmart earnings, and the week ahead. Powell's policy speech Friday in Jackson Hole will be the defining monetary policy event of the summer. I think or thought, maybe somebody can help me, but on coming this week on Wednesday, we're going to have come on, Cletus, we're going to have, here it is, the FOMC meeting minutes. Isn't this where we're going to find out about rate cuts or not? Let me see what it says here in this folder. But this we're here, right? Aren't we at the place, or will we not hear about that until September? No, I want to wait and I want to see what's in here. Or will we not hear about that till September? Somebody who's in the comments who knows. I'm thinking it's going to be on Wednesday. I'm thinking we should hear about that on Wednesday. But while I'm on this screen, let's go ahead and talk about what's coming this week. On Monday, National Association of Home Buyers Housing Market Index is Monday, just a yellow folder. Tuesday, we've got building permits, housing starts at 8:30, FOMC member Bowman at 2:10 and 4:30, API weekly statistical bulletin. So not a lot happening there. The 20th, we've got crude oil inventories, FOMC people, and then FOMC meeting minutes. Or are we waiting till September? Somebody, okay, Vinod says not this Wednesday. Okay, cool. Thank you, VK. Not this Wednesday. I was thinking this was going to be the time. Is it time yet? I mean, tell us what we need to know. So Vinod says not yet. Okay. 3 o'clock, FOMC member Bostic will speak. Okay. Somebody's at the door. I'm assuming my husband heard the doorbell. Oh, yeah, I hear him opening it. Okay. Unemployment claims are at 8:30. Philly Fed. This is Thursday we're talking about. PMI on Thursday at 9:45. Those are red folders. Unemployment and PMI are both red folders. Existing home sales CB leading index month over month, 10 o'clock, 10:30 natural gas storage. Jackson Hole starts on August 21st, which is Thursday. They got an orange folder here. Maybe, I'm not sure. I guess they have an orange folder because this is day one and Powell speaks on Friday morning at 10. So I'm sure folks are going to be waiting to see what is Powell going to say. What is Powell going to say at 10 o'clock on Friday morning? But they'll probably have his speech like all, they'll probably have his speech all cleaned up and all pristine, so that way he don't say nothing that leads us one way or the other. They're probably going to have it set up where he's not going to give away anything except for maybe who's taking his job next. He may not even talk about that because he may be like, I'm keeping this job. Y'all ain't running me off. I'm staying right here. Anyway, that's what's happening this week. That's what's coming up this week as far as that goes. Okay. I was over here talking about CNBC, Samsung taking market share from Apple in the US as foldable phones gain momentum. Hopefully they got better technology on the design of those foldable phones, because before, when they had them, the whole open and close thing was causing a problem. So maybe they, design them better this time. 20K pay cuts, lower titles, odd jobs. Workers are making big trade-offs to find meaningful work in today's job market. You know what? There's a whole different mentality, not just among the young people, but even among middle-aged and older people are like, why even stress yourself out and go through all that you go through to keep a job that if you died or passed away or got hurt and couldn't do this job, they would literally have your job posted that evening. Literally somebody died at my husband's job. The lady died in the morning. Her daughter called, and let me put myself back on this screen. Her daughter called that morning and said basically her mom had passed away. And by the close of business on the very same day that they called and said that her mom had died, they had her job posted. The very same day. The woman literally was not in the ground, didn't have no funeral arrangement. They already had her job posted and was looking for her replacement. And you can't blame the business because they still got to do, we still need the job done. I get it. She was an administrative assistant. They're definitely necessary. Even in the midst of that, you're just like, a job don't care. They don't care. You are literally a number. So why even go through? You need to, like you said, they says right here, find meaningful work. You better find the things that mean something to you. If you're going to go somewhere every day and do whatever it is every day or every other day or however, it needs to mean something to you. Your dash, I'm not going to get on my preachy, but your dash needs to mean something to you. And that's one of the reasons why I shifted actually from engineering to teaching, because I felt like I could go to work any day. And I did work while I was there. I didn't never really enjoy it. I worked, on the space shuttle program. I didn't really enjoy what I was doing, but I could go or not go. It was like, if I went, it was cool. If I didn't, it was like, okay. But when at the end of the week, at the end of the month, I was like, what have I really done? I haven't, like, if I was to pass away tomorrow, nobody would even be like, Miss Bostic or Miss Pinkleton was like, no, I felt like I wanted to leave some kind of legacy. So I was like, let me go find me a career. Let me find something to do that when it's all, that somebody who passes me in the streets is going to be like, I remember when I've run into my students in the grocery stores and in other places, and they're like, there's my math teacher. And they're like all excited to tell their family and friends about me. I'm just teaching math. People don't necessarily love it. But when it's all other people are like, you made math something I could understand. And they're so grateful. I feel like I've made an impact on somebody's life along the way, and I wasn't making that same impact when I was doing my other job. So anyway, my whole rant right there was to find something meaningful. And if people find meaning in all kind of ways, so just, you don't got to go do it out there. I'm just saying, whatever you're doing with your dash, make sure that it's meaningful. That was the whole crux of that, was make sure that it's whatever you're doing, it's meaningful. Okay. All right. Back to the show. Back to the show. White House envoy claims Russia agreed to Article 5 like security guarantees for Ukraine. I know, okay, stuff to do with the war. Amazon's expansion of grocery delivery isn't the death knell for these stocks. Here's why. People in the happiest relationship talk about 5 things every day that most don't. Okay. Let's move on to, let me see if anything interesting here is worth discussing. Bill Gates meets Willy Wonka. Really? Huh. Interesting. Okay, move on. What else is here? Okay, we did that. Let's look at earnings. I don't need, oh goodness. Oh, yeah. I got logged out. What's his name logged me out of everything. Google, my Google account must have gotten like, what's the word? Somebody tried to hack it, if you want to call it that. And I got logged out of everything that was attached to Google. And then when I go back to stuff now, I'm like, I have to go and find the passwords because I had so many things. I had so many things that were like, just they automatically logged in. As soon as I clicked on it, it automatically went in. And so when I go back to it, I'm like, I don't know the password to that. It's been just opening up for all this time. Who knows what that is? Who knows what the password is? I don't know. I don't know the password. I don't even know. Okay, let me see if I can find. I was looking for, let me try if I can find who the people. Oh, earnings whispers. EAR EPS whispers. There we go. See if I can get this brought up in a relatively short amount of time. But while I'm doing that, let's talk about last week. Last week. Last week, our trades list went 15 for 17. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Okay, well, I was there. Where'd we go? There it is. Yeah, 15 for 17. And the 2 that were not fully profitable were only breached partially. They weren't even a full breach. Like that one at the AXP, which is what, American Express? American Express was, do I want to put it there? I can put it there. I think that'll work. American Express was halfway, like 306 was the price that it closed at. But American Express, if you can see here, was on both lists. American Express was on the put credit spread and the call credit spread list, right? And then you had Next Era Energy. Yeah, and it was only like 75.29. It wasn't even, again, it wasn't a full breach, 75.29. So the person who had that would have been literally at a break even. And I don't know what the price action looked like for the week, because they may have been, depending on how the price moved around, they may have been able to get out in profit. Depending on how the price action moved, they might have been able to get out profitably. If you waited till the end of the week to get out, it would have been breached. But most people who are trading credit spreads don't wait till the end of the week to get out. They get out along the way. At least that's what I teach. I teach that when you get to 80%, then you go ahead and shut it down, right? You go ahead and shut it down. Shut it down. Let me go find what's his name. Let me see. Janae said something. Janae said, you have definitely made a difference. Appreciate you, Coach. Girlfriend, I'm so grateful to have you in my community. You don't know how much I appreciate you. I love that you're very outspoken and that you say what you think. And you're one who would say, Coach, you don't have to come at 8:10. You can come at 8:20. Take a break. Don't feel obligated to come in here. Take care of your family. I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Google has altered their auto refill. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can get Instagram to open over here. Instagram, will you open over here, please? That way we can see the earnings. Okay, let's log in. See if you'll log in on your own. No. I want you to log in so we can see the earnings. Otherwise, I gotta go. I did put it on. Okay, maybe you'll go ahead and open here. Log in. Just log in on your own. Then we can, it can be just perfect. I want to be sure that we can see the earnings that are coming up for this week. Oh, I think we might be there. EPS. We might be where we need to be. Yay. Yep. I think we might be there. Oh, we got some good stuff coming up this week, looks like. Let's move it to this screen and then we can see what's there. Sorry, I'm going to come back to I'm going to talk the rest of that, the rest of our 88% win rate. I'm going to talk that and then we'll come to the earnings after that. But win rate for the week. So again, 15 out of 17 were profitable. Only the 2 that weren't profitable, like I said, they only had a partial breach. But look at all them check marks. Look at all those check marks. Yes, 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 yes. All those check marks. All those were profitable trades. If you let them go from beginning to end, if you were able to ride any of the waves, because sometimes as a credit spreads person, and I know this firsthand, the price action along the way will shake you out. It'll shake you out. You'll be like, Tuesday, where is this going? Wednesday, I'm going to lose my money. Thursday, is it going to recover? And sometimes the ride is just more than you can bear. All right. Now, y'all know that I allow Peakbot to do mine. I let the stocks I pick, I let Peakbot go and do mine automated. And if that's something that you want to do, which I wouldn't, I'd recommend, it's useful. I'm a fan. Let me see where it is. I'm a fan of letting Peakbot do it for you. It enters on Friday, goes through the week, and it closes along the way. Sometimes I close my own along the way just because I'm watching. But if you're somebody who's not necessarily watching or you're not comfortable doing it, Peakbot will close them for you. Now, the drawback to that is Peakbot will not close for if it's been breached or if it's closing for a loss. Peakbot doesn't have a stop loss. So if you need to come up with your own stop loss plan for the trend spread bot, if you're completely automating it hands free, then you need to just ride it the whole week. But at the end of the week, if it went against you and you get to the end of the week, you're going to be out of whatever the full or max loss is. So that's why you have to come up with, and I did to come up with what is your stop loss plan? Is it double, triple what you took in premiums? Do you have a place on the chart that is your stop loss place? Is there a money figure? And I'm a fan. This was a good little teaching lesson. I'm gonna give a little lesson here. I would suggest that you not set your stop loss based on the dollar amount. Okay. Not with credit spreads. Don't set your stop loss based on the amount of money. Set the stop loss based on technical analysis, based on the chart. So if your strike is breached, that's your stop loss. If it's past your sell strike, that's your stop loss. If it has, if some moving averages have crossed over or something that has to do with the chart, with the price action, not something that has to do with the money. And the reason I say that is because you can say, okay, I took in $10 or $15 and I'm saying I don't want to lose any more than double my money. Well, you can be at double the $15 or $20 and the price is nowhere near your strike. But the value of the trade could be 2 and 3 times what you took in premiums, because when the price can be right at your sell leg, and it can be like worth half of the width of the spread. So if the spread is $1, it could be worth 50 cents. Well, if you took in $10, then 50 cents is half of that, but you would be stopped out. But your trade, it wouldn't even be, it would just be getting at your sell leg. Okay. So what I'm saying is don't use a dollar amount as it's not the best way to pick your stop loss. Is not dollar based. Your stop loss it would be better if it was based on technical analysis, where you said, okay, if it crosses my sell leg, then I'm out. If it goes through both of my legs, I'm out. When I say legs, like your contracts. something like that. If my moving averages cross over and went from bearish to bullish, and I'm bullish, but it went to bearish, then I'm out. These are the things you should use something on the chart to help you make the decision to exit, not just a dollar amount, because the price can be right on top of your strike and be ready to reverse, because you could be right at the resistance or right at the support zone, and the price turns around and goes the way you want. And if all you were using was a dollar figure as your stop loss, you wouldn't look to see that the price is turning and going in the right direction. So don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. And this is the kind of stuff we teach in my community. So, just in case you need a little more teaching of that. And I'm going to lead right from there into E2T University is opening on tomorrow. I'm going to talk more about that in a minute. But E2T University is where we learn all those things I just talked about. How do we manage and how do we learn technical analysis, right? How do we analyze good trades, not so good trades, whether the trade's going to turn around or not? What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay, we learn all that stuff in E2T University, which is opening up for open enrollment tomorrow. Open enrollment starts tomorrow. Okay, let's look at earnings coming up this week. Some of these people I don't recognize, but some of them I do. Okay, Freightos, looks to say Bitdeer. I'm not sure who they are. BTDR. I never heard. Y'all ever heard of them? Riskified. I'm Riskified. Ooh, I'm Riskified. Who are they and what do they do? Oh my goodness. CBAT. I never heard of them either. Monday after close. Palo Alto Network. We have heard of them. PANW. Right. PANW, Palo Alto. Blink is here. Those are the electric vehicle people, right? Blink is the charging company. I think they're a charger. Fabrinet, XP, NYXOAH, NYXOAH. Anyway, NYXH is the ticker. Waldencast, WALD, Agora, BHP, I'm gonna say BHP, and Flex Steel. That's all Monday. I'm sure Palo Alto Networks is probably anticipated. Tuesday morning is Home Depot, Amerisports, Xpeng, XPEV, Viking, Medtronic, Opera, and Premier. All that's Tuesday morning. Tuesday afternoon closing, Toll Brothers. I think that's the housing people. James Hardy, ZTO, which is, I think, a shipping company, ZTO Express, Carlisle, Jack Henry, Lazy Boy, Keysight Technologies, SQM, Iuna, and EARN. That's all Tuesday after close. Wednesday morning, Target, Estee Lauder, TJ Maxx, Zim. Zim used to pay really good dividends. They quit and their price went. Analog Digital, Baidu, Dicom. Lowe's is also right after. Home Depot and Lowe's are probably gonna be sympathy plays, so be careful with that. Futu, GDS. Wednesday after close, BBVA, America Airports, Cody, Nordson, Ascentage, Telex, and Unify. So all Wednesday after close. Thursday morning, Walmart's, Canadian Solar, Hoynanian, okay, Billy, OSI Systems, VNet, Aegean or Aegon, YMM, Yatsen, and ScanSource. That's all Thursday morning. Zoom is Thursday after close. Workday, Intuit, and Ross. That's all Thursday after close. And Friday morning, we've got BJ's and GFI. I don't know what the G stands for. Something Fields. That's all the earnings coming up for this week. All the earnings coming up. Anybody gonna do any of those earnings trades for this week? We don't necessarily do as many earnings as sellers. We ride on the backside. Oh, I was rhyming and didn't even know it. I'm a poet and didn't know it. We rhyme on the backside. That's the way we do. But yeah, we usually ride on the backside as sellers. All righty, let's see. What else did I have up here to look at? I think that's all I might have had. We looked at the charts, looked at that. I want to talk E2T University. All right. I kind of hinted at that. I'm going to go there and I'm going to ride us out on this, right? E2T University. It's opening tomorrow. The price is, it's opening tomorrow. Open enrollment starts tomorrow. Everybody who's on my mailing list should have gotten an email while I talked to you about the opening and about the price and the value. I didn't really talk as much about what E2T University is going to entail, because I've sent out multiple emails talking about E2T University. No one who gets email or anybody who watches me on social media, none of you should be shocked about what E2T University. Might be like, what is E2T University? Nobody should be wondering what we're talking about, all right? Because we've been talking about it for a bit of a minute, all righty? E2T University is 12 weeks of education, 12 weeks to confident trading, it says on the other screen, 12 weeks to confident trading. Let me close up that one and put on the other screen. 12 weeks to confident trading. Okay. Now, the plan here, you all, if anybody who's been with me for a period of time, you know I used to run Options 411. I ran it 8 or 9 times and it grew. First, it started with 4 weeks, then it became 6 weeks, then it became 8 weeks, and it might have been 9 or 10. It kind of grew and grew and grew. And it's because I kept adding information to it because I knew there was stuff that needed to be in it. Now we've translated that into E2T University and made it a full, robust system. This is not just Options 411, warmed over like old soup. No, that's not what, even though old soup is really good, okay, because all the seasonings get in there and all that. This is not what this is. This ain't that, but it kind of is that, because the information is still the information, okay? But we're going to start with the basics and we're going to walk through. Now, I've got people who feel like you're going to start, I don't need all that. You just might. You just might need all that. We've got people who are trading strategies. And when I say, I don't know whether to stay in or get out. And I say, go look at the chart. And they're like, look at it for what? What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Is the price going to reverse? They're like, I don't really know if it's going to reverse. I can't really tell, right? This is where the things where we're going to lay down some good solid foundation that goes underneath our strategies, because we've got some solid strategies. I'm telling you, my strategies in the seller zone are strong. We've got cash secure puts. We've got covered calls. Both of those are great passive strategies for good, solid passive income strategies. They're very straightforward strategies, but they do have a foundation. Credit spreads on all the stocks. You can use them on all the stocks, not just SPX. We do that in the membership, but you can use them on all the stocks. But listen, you can use them on all those stocks that you want to, but there's a foundation there. I want to make sure that we're laying the foundation. Hey, Denise, I want to make sure we're laying a good foundation. And that foundation rests on technical analysis. That's the foundation. And if your foundation is shaky, then when you get ready to build onto it, when you get ready to scale up, we're gonna have problems. Them big buildings that we see in downtown Chicago and all those big windy cities, they're not just going up. They've got a deep, strong foundation into the ground, because something has to anchor that. Ooh, I could preach that right there. If your anchor is not holding, if it's not gripping the solid rock, you're going to have a problem. So you need a trading anchor. And that trading anchor is technical analysis. And technical analysis generally comes down to that chart. People don't want to hear, I don't want a chart. Charting is boring. It is. It's not the most fancy thing. It's not. But it's pivotal and it's important, because you can get SPX will make you pull your hair out. And I got lots of hair. Y'all can see I got plenty of hair. But SPX will make you pull it all out if you don't understand what you're looking at on that chart. And you don't have to be trading SPX. You could be trading something small. But you're like, is it going to turn around? Am I going to lose my money? Yeah, you could if you not. Come on. So anyway, let's talk about what E2T University offers. It's going to offer some good foundational training. We're going to talk about some of the basics of options and basics of stocks. We're going to talk about the chart and using indicators. Then we're going to get into the strategies that we use and what are they based on and how can you use them to make money? Because that's really what we're after. We ain't out here to just be out here. We're out here to make money, right? And I know there are people in my community and in other communities that are listening far and wide who have money sitting somewhere that is making them no money. You got money that ain't making you no money. You can be using it in a very passive way to be growing. It could be growing in a very passive way. All right. So let's look at some strategies that's going to help to grow that. Then we'll get a little deeper into maybe some more advanced strategies, some more advanced indicators that we can use. Not a whole lot, because I'm not a big fan of a lot of indicators, but the ones we do use, I want you to understand how to use them. Okay. We don't use a lot of them, but the ones we do use, I want you to know how to use them. Then after you really built your strategies, you got credit spreads, you got all these strategies and stuff. I want you to know, how do we manage our portfolio? How do we decide what to put where and how much to put on what? And how do we watch our risk management and our trading psychology? Because this whole thing is mental. And if your mind is not, you can have all the great strategies you want, but if your mind is, it'll take you out every time. If all you can see is your money flying out the window, we won't be able to scale. We won't be able to scale it up, right? Ward says, who cares if it's boring as long as it can be deciphered? This is true, but there are people who won't go learn it because they don't want to learn it. And you got to learn it, right? Okay. So anyway, for 2 days, 48 hours, I almost said 24. For 48 hours, there's going to be a discount. The regular price of E2T University is going to be $19.97. The regular price is going to be $19.97, but for 48 hours, it's going to be offered for $14.97. And take $500 off of it. 12 weeks of training for less than $1,500. I'm going to meet with you every week. We're going to meet on Mondays. We're going to learn some stuff. We're going to put that to practice during the week. I'm going to be available to help walk you through the process. By the time you finish the 12 weeks with me, you're going to go for, and I'm making a bold commitment here. And believe me, it's a bold one, because I know there's a varying level of people's knowledge and how fast people acquire information. But my plan and my commitment is that at the end of this 12 weeks, you should be able and ready to trade with us in the membership every day. That you're going to know enough, you're going to have enough information under your belt to be able to trade with us in the membership every day. And we trade SPX on a daily basis. All right. My plan is that I'm going to work with you and teach you all along the way for 12 weeks. And by the time we're done with along the way, even we're going to make money along the way. But by the end of that 12 weeks, you're going to be ready. You're going to be equipped to trade with us in the membership. Of course, it's going to come down to what you put into it, because I can't trade for you. So if you decide you just going, you're not going to commit to it, then we're going to get what we get. But if you commit to it, I'll commit to you. Okay, that's how that goes. $14.97. It's going to open up tomorrow. The price will open up tomorrow. 48 hours would be how long it'll go. And that's at that price. After that, it's going to go up to regular price, which will be $19.97. I'm even offering a payment plan. You can pay half up front and half in 1 month. Look at that. I'm going to give you half. You can do half at the beginning and half right before we get started. Isn't that nice of me? I thought so. All right. So that's the plan. Be thinking about it and be ready to do your clicking tomorrow. All right. Okay. 12 weeks. We've got the first 3 weeks. You're going to be like a freshman. I talked about, we're going to do some laying the good foundation, right? What are the stocks and options? How do we read charts and price action, all the good stuff? Second, third weeks, you're going to be like a sophomore in college. Going to do some core strategies, some simple indicators, building a trades journal. How do we pick stocks and how do we pick trades to take? What's our daily prep? What does that look like? The third 3 weeks, you're going to be like a junior in college. How are we putting in credit spreads and PDT hacks? We're going to be doing more. Now, this is going to require you to do some seat time and some learning. All right. And then the 4 3 weeks, we're going to bring it all together. optimize what we're doing, long-term income planning, trading less but earning more, because we just, this don't mean we trade. And you don't have to be a day trader to do this, because everybody doesn't want to trade every day and be a day trader. Some folks want to trade passive. I'm people who want to trade passive. I'm people. 1 weekly Zoom training, 12 weeks of clarity. That's the plan. Okay. I'm going to be sending you out. And if you're not on the wait list, many of you are already on the wait list, but if you're not on the wait list, then please get on there. So that way, when I send out the information tomorrow morning with the link to get in, you can make sure that you are one of the first people to get in on that link. If you're already a member of mine, I sent you an email because you're getting special pricing. If you're already a member, you're getting special pricing because you're already riding, you're already on the train, and you're already riding with me. And if you're already riding, you get the special price to come do E2T University. And I know there are people who are with me on this in the membership who still could use a strong foundation and a firm foundation. All right. I know there are people who could use a firm foundation. So we're going to get it. If you want to really shore up your trading and take your trading to another level, then this is the place to do it. And if you're going to do it at a good price point, right? I've seen a lot of those trading trainings out there. Because of course I'm in the trading space. So I see that's the same stuff that pops up on my YouTube and pops up in my feed. And I know what people is charging. And that's not good grammar, but I know what people is charging. And I know I'm nowhere near what people is charging, but I educate for a living. That's what I do. I trade along the way, but education is my real job. Education is what I do. That's what I do. I am an educator. All right. All righty. I think we've covered all the things. Denise said, I just saw the email. Good. Is there anything else we need to cover before we shut down this ship and we go on to move on to my folks in the membership? Because we need to do our whole charting and training for the week. We have our weekly call on Sunday evenings. Okay. I think I've covered everything I want to cover. If you're with me, make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure you do all the things you're supposed to do on YouTube. I will be back in the morning. Now, I start school in the morning. Y'all praying for your girl. I start school in the morning. My first class is at 12. So I'm planning to be on here at my regular time of 8. If I'm here at 8:30. Yeah, I'm be here at 8:30. I can be here at 8:30. Be gone. Yep. 8:30 sounds good. I'll be here at 8:30 in the morning, just like I am on most Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays. 8:30 sounds like a good time to continue to be here. So I'll be here at 8:30. And yep, that'll be good. I'll see y'all then. And if you're in my community, I will see you in the Zoom room in about 2 minutos. All right, everybody. We're going to stay green and we're going to get this money. And I'll see you in the morning. Bye-bye, everyone.